Best Wednesday. Welcome, YouTube, Facebook watchers. Looking forward to today's episode. We talk about a little bit here today, just about where we're at in the world. We have shutdowns across the board. What's up, Walter? Hope you're doing well. Um, Shutdowns for restaurants just came out yesterday in 15 counties in Colorado. We have a president-elect. We still have a president. Things are kind of going back and forth there. We have all of this information flooding our news streams about what the president's doing to keep the lawsuits going. We have what the president-elect's going to do possibly to the market, which none of it is in stone, in fact. So today we're going to kind of dive into that. I'm coming to you live from the corner of 76 and Salisbury in Arvada, Colorado, getting ready to show a house here at 4:15, but had to jump on here to give you your Why Invest Wednesday. So let's dive right into the election. Biden, president-elect, obviously with the Democrat in office, more regulations are possible. He also has some $15,000 first-time home buyer credit, which would be cool. So there's all kinds of things up in the air there. I've heard that the CFPB regulations are happening. Some people think it's going to be a big deal. Some people think the effect on interest rates probably will happen more with the vaccine. So that's all stuff that's going on. Mixed in with all of that, we have the news of the vaccine. Now we have a 95.6% positive from a different company than Pfizer. So everything's kind of building, yet we don't have the vaccine. We get news that restaurants, in-person dining is shutting down in Colorado, Denver, most of the counties around the metro area. And so we got a bunch of information that's kind of butting heads here. And I think that that's, extremely confusing on what's going on. Here's what we do know. In the mortgage world, we've had some interesting headlines. We had the CEO of Freddie Mac resign. I'm being told that that's probably a sign that Freddie's going to or conventional loans are kind of going to continue to stay in the hands of the government and not go private. That's a positive thing as far as, assistance with that. But obviously resigning CEO, a lot of uncertainty, adding more to our uncertainty that we have. Another headline that you'll see and that I hear constantly is foreclosures are on the rise. Well, let's focus on the entire set of numbers. We've been under a foreclosure moratorium for many months in almost every state, if not every state. And so any increase when in those areas that the foreclosure moratorium has been lifted, any increase from zero is going to be pretty easy. It only takes one foreclosure out of five when you're at zero to have a 20% increase. So let's be real about those headlines a little bit more. We've talked week after week about the appreciation levels. Please, if you're in a situation where you can't pay your mortgage, let's at least look at your situation. If you have any equity, you might as well pull that out instead of leaving it on the table to give back to the lender, which any person in that situation is going to say, okay, I owe, 400,000 on my house. It's worth 500,000. I can't pay my mortgage. Let's sell it and take that 100,000 and keep it. Because if you go into foreclosure and you quit paying your mortgage, that $100,000 is gone. So headlines are exactly that. Headlines. Just be careful on kind of what you're seeing and how that looks as a result of foreclosures and all that stuff. Let's talk about it. The early on precursor to foreclosures is forbearance. I've heard that only 8% of the people that actually took forbearance are actually in delinquency, which is where you get to the foreclosure stage. So that's something definitely to consider and keep your eyes on as not just a huge opportunity for houses to come on the market. That's not going to be our source. As we move forward, we talk a little bit about inventory. I was watching a training the other day or a update. In the Denver market, we have like 4,000 houses on the market active as of last Friday or last Wednesday, I think the date was. And in this graph, in order for it to become a buyer's market, she proved that we would need 33,000 more listings to go on the market to achieve the buyer's market. She has a whole crazy spreadsheet. It's amazing. But basically it's saying, looking at the number of showings, the number of, homes on market, days on market, median price, so on and so forth, 33,000 more active homes. Now, one precursor, one thing to say, asterisk, is that new builds are not a part of that number. So say, for instance, we have 2,000 active new builds, or, builds that will come on the market in the next 6 months or completed in the next 6 months. We're still not even close to 33,000 with shutdowns, things that are going on, COVID still being, obviously a major issue in our communities, whether, you believe in masks or not, that's beyond the point. We have a concern. There's going to be less homes to go on the market. We have holidays here. We have, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, the first week of the year, all very distracted periods where there's not going to be as many homes on the market. There's probably not going to be as many buyers in the market just for that short amount of time. So you might see some uptick in, availability. I'm telling you right now, if you're a buyer and you're kind of on the fence and it's ready, it's go time, don't wait for that perfect interest rate. I think we're there. We have record low interest rates. I think they're good. I think anything below 4, as we move out of this and, 5-10 years down the road, I'm going to have a problem being like telling people that it's a good idea to sell your home that you live in that works for you perfectly and buy a smaller home, maybe downsize for the same amount of money because the interest rate difference is so much. Refinances, and people are just going to kind of stay put. So I would guess that as our interest rates rise, our inventory is going to continue to be depleted. So those are all things. Obviously, there's life events that people have that make them sell homes, and that'll still be there. But the leisurely, hey, I want to, sell a house and buy a house because I have the equity, I can get a bigger house, is kind of going to go away a little bit, and people are going to hold on to things longer because these interest rates are just so good. So that's another thing that I have concern about down the road with inventory and things like that. And it's crazy. I have a house for sale or under contract now in Fort Collins, and we run an ad this week just talking about getting younger buyers into the home for little to no down payment and this and that. And oh man, it's hot in here. I got to roll down my window. Hold on. And this and that. And I had so much negative, hate comments going on. And it was kind of funny because I had a long, I kind of went back and forth on comments respectfully. And then the lady's like, okay, I bite. Like, tell me your program. And I talked to her for 30 minutes and she was like, well, that all makes sense. Like, sorry that I was so negative about it. But I basically proved to her that you don't need $1 million to buy a house. And, if you're willing to rent out a room of your house or you're willing to rent the house you live in now, you can definitely make moves right now because interest rates are so good that it will work for you. So all of that considered, just kind of putting it out there that currently we have approximately, 2 to 3 weeks to get under contract and sell your houses and do all of this under the Trump tax plan. It's looking like obviously President-elect Biden will have a different tax plan. That's pretty natural when you change political parties in our lovely two-party system. So your taxes might look a little different. So if now's the time. If it makes sense and you're qualified and I can roll you into a home for a little down payment and you have an interest rate under 3, that's a great start and a great place to kind of build your equity so that maybe in 5 to 10 years, 5 years, you want to move into your forever home. Then you have a little bit of equity, so it makes a little more sense. You have $100,000 down and your payment won't change that much because your equity that you have moving forward will offset your payment. So all that said, just kind of consider it. It's not doom and gloom if you don't get into a home before, the end of December or anything like that. But the interest rates will go up with the vaccine, with more regularity, consistency in the economy, with all that coming back. As I hope 2021 is a huge launch pad to get everything back to normal and help those people that are out of work, especially in the service industries, back into something, or maybe they take this time to go do something else and start a career, as I know that it's really hard to jump out of those industries sometimes. But with that said, just manage your emotions and really take it all in. There's not a better time. Houses will continue to appreciate until we have that steady market, appreciate at record highs. I mean, there's some places that have appreciated 17% in Denver. So if houses appreciate and then interest rates start to take up, then affordability is harder. And then we're maybe stretching ourselves a little thin, out of our comfort zone for a house payment, just because we know homeownership, we don't want to pay rent and things like that. So keep all that in mind. Would love to chat with you anytime. Obviously, don't be cranky because houses are appreciating at record levels, and you look at homes and you're like, how can I afford that? Be cranky because you didn't get in when you had an opportunity and you were obviously given the opportunity to do it. So would love to chat with you guys anytime. Sorry, Instagram paused over there, but let's talk about it. Be kind to people. As we move into the Thanksgiving period, I'm really working hard to adopt the everyone is where they're at. Do what they do. That's okay. I'm going to do what I think is right for my family. If you don't think that's right, that's cool. That's your prerogative. If you want to go out and do your thing, that's cool too. Just understand that, everybody's working. No one knows what's going on. And hopefully there's a vaccine coming pretty soon that we can trust and get into. So with that said, I got to show a house, but thanks for your time today. Why Invest Wednesday, every Wednesday afternoon between, 2:30 and 4:30 here. Thanks for joining me today. And if you are on YouTube, definitely subscribe to my channel, trying to get that above 100 subscribers. That means I need 70 more. So have a great afternoon. I'm